Hey y'all, and welcome back to another video of My Creative Life with Kel Sweetie, where we read books, we make art, and during a certain time of year, we start to holiday decorate. And this video, we are going to be talking about just that. Well, two of those things. Yeah, two of those things. We are bringing the where we make art thing back into this channel right now. So with it being August, which apparently is Artist Appreciation Month, which is really amazing, just found that out recently, I thought this month would be the perfect time to start crafting for Halloween specifically. Next week, we are putting up the Halloween decorations. I know it's early for me too. Honestly, if I wasn't recording it for y'all, I'd probably wait just a little bit longer so I could just have it for 2 months. I kind of keep a cap on it, you know, just so you can make it still feel special when you pull it out. But with me putting up those decorations means that I need to get on it with making my crafts to go in those areas. There are a lot of crafts that I want to get done this year, and I'm a little overwhelmed. I might have put too much dip on my chip. But today we are not only going to go through what crafts we're going to be doing, but also today we're going to start the series of crafting. Yes, you heard that right. There are so many crafts that I want to do that I actually can't do it like how I did it last year where it was all in one video. I will be breaking this up into many different videos. So we will see how that works out. I am both excited and extremely scared to be knocking out so much. But I am feeling really excited though, because it's been a while since I've made something physically. So let's get through our list, which will be right behind us during all of these videos, so we can keep on track on the crafts that we want to make and see if we can get through them all before I have to put up all these decorations within another week. Let's see if we can do it. Let's get into the intro. So, like I said, there are a lot of crafts this year that I want to do. They started off small, and then all of a sudden things started coming to me, especially for my 90s area and my witch area. It kind of started to hit me that making some things for these areas would be better than anything. And then there was a whole big idea that came up about my movie area, and let's talk a bit about it. This is the intro video for this series, so I'm hoping that this will kind of give a little bit of context, and you can come back to this video if you find some of the other craft series videos to kind of understand what we're all doing here. So, a little heads up, if you've not watched my Halfway to Halloween video, I highly recommend you watch it, because that is going to give you insight into what we are doing this year throughout the house. I divide my house up into 4-ish different sections, and I have a theme for each section. This year, those themes are my Halloween town, which is going to be my shelf area. I always have my Halloween town there, but this year, we're taking it up a notch. We'll talk about that in just a second. Then there's my TV area. This year, that is my Monster Movie Mash area. Then above my bookshelves, which is usually my big spotlight area, this year is my 90s Halloween party area. So that, I really leaned into that, especially in the last couple of weeks with some of the things that I've gotten, and I'm super excited to see how that all comes together. And then my kitchen shelves, which will this year be my witch kitchen. And to get you an idea of how that'll look, this is what I've leaned into, is that I want my kitchen to feel like a Stevie Nicks song. In the crystalline knowledge of you. Let that sit for a moment on what I'm kind of going for. Let's get into my crafts and everything, because we don't have a lot of time to do all this. Let's break these down into themes, and I think that'll be the best way maybe to go about this. But first and foremost, I know for a fact that I want to make my own pumpkin pails this year. One, the paper pumpkin pails that are vintage are far too out of budget for me, but I absolutely love them, and I think that they would be an amazing craft to try out, and it's something that I've wanted to do since the very beginning of all this crafting that I've been wanting to do. That also, I feel like it's going to be the hardest thing to do personally, because there's so much that I've had to Frankenstein together in order to do that. So let's put that at the very top of the list as our big thing that we need to do. Next, it's a really big thing for me to do is my marquee sign. So originally they're down here, I bought these drive-in theater marquee letters with an idea that I was going to string them up in a garland and put different quotes from some of my favorite Halloween movies up weekly for the garland. Now, logistically, I think that it would have worked, but I would have had to put holes in the marquee signs, which would have required me to bring out a drill because of how thick they are. And then I also would have had to ruin the marquee letters in order to do this craft. That I also started to think about weight and physics and how are they going to stay up there. All in all, I basically decided overall a marquee sign is what I needed instead, in that in-between space between my TV and my credenza. Now, did I want to go out and buy a marquee sign, especially considering I would have needed a longer one, not one of those little tiny ones that you get from Amazon for cheap? No, I didn't want to do that because I felt like that was going to be a lot of money that I just didn't have in the budget, and I just didn't want to buy one. So we're crafting our own. Is this cheaper? I think that's something to bring up during the video. I did end up getting a shadow box as well as a couple of other things. So the question will be, is it cheaper? Is it better? I don't know, but we're making it. That is somehow going to be, I feel like, a tad bit easier than the pumpkin pail, only because it's really just putting things together. Rather than, I feel like the pumpkin pails, there's a lot of things that I don't know I'm doing, so it's a lot of experimentation, as opposed to this I had a lot of videos for. The next craft, a majority of the rest of the crafts I feel like are a little bit more doable, but we will see if I eat my words on that. The next craft that I'm going to be doing is something that's more like a foundation, and that's for my Halloween town. I ended up buying these they're not 2x4s, but they're like planks of wood that I'm going to cut down, use miniature grass, and I don't know where they are, but place some trees as well as some pumpkins and leaves and stuff around it, and they're going to sit on top of the picture ledge shelves that I have in order to create a flat foundation for my houses to be on for my Halloween town. I've noticed in the past that when they sit in my picture ledges, we lose about 1.5 inches of space where the Halloween town is, and even like my little figures, like they get cut off at the ankles. So in order to have something that looked a little bit more seamless as well as like cuter, I decided to do this. Now, the only thing that I think that may be a little bit harder for this is that I have to tear down these planks of wood, these long planks of wood that I got, but that's about as difficult as it should get, because other than that, it's just basically Mod Podge. So let's put that down next. The next thing that I need to make are my fake cookies. So this is something that came up very recently as the 90s Halloween party area kind of grew, and I really started to figure out what that aesthetic looked like. Especially after taking out and auditing my things, I realized that it was not giving 90s, and it really was just giving vintage trick-or-treat. And that's something that I really wanted it to look different from last year's. So, what is more 90s Halloween classroom party than the Pillsbury slice and bake cookies from our childhood? And I looked online. I didn't find hardly anybody who was selling fake Halloween cookies that are specifically those. And two, just to get 4, it's pretty expensive. I mean, again, like, people are spending a lot of time making these, so I understand. But again, it wasn't in the budget. So I decided, why don't I make my own? I did a bunch of research. I looked at a bunch of videos, not only on how to make fake cookies, but also on how to make slice and bake cookies, which is more difficult than you would think. I've had to break some things down, and I've done the math, but we're using air dry clay and some acrylic paint and a lot of hoping and wishing, but but hopefully we can make not only some of those slice and bake cookies, but at the very least, we can make some of those like fluffy sugar cookies that you get at like Kroger or something that we will make for our 90s Halloween party. So let's put that down next. The next thing that I need to figure out is something that's going to go in my witch kitchen, and it's a really big item, and that is my broom. I looked online, I looked everywhere trying to figure out how to buy maybe something that looked very real as a broom, but I realized I just should make a broom. And this has been something that I wanted to do since last year, to put out on my porch, since the outside of our house usually looks like a witch's house. And I just haven't done it. But this year, no more. We are making our own broom. I have done a bunch of research, and honestly, I think that I can do it. Now, the broomstick is something that we still need to figure out, but for the most part, I think it's something that's possible. So let's put that down next. Something else that I need to do, and it's for the movie area, is make some fake popcorn. I've been going back and forth on whether or not I want them to look realistic and be small or something huge. And I decided, one, it may be easiest to do the bigger pieces, but also it'll just stand out a lot more. So let's make some big, oversized fake popcorn. And last but not least, we need to repaint some figures. I had told y'all that I'd gotten that beautiful witch from Home Goods that was huge and vintage looking, but I really wanted her to be a more representative witch of me, so we're going to paint her, as well as a few other figures that I've seen. So let's put down for our last craft, repainting and redyeing figures. So this is our overall final list of crafts that we need to get done before next week starts up. It's 7 full crafts. I think that we can do it. I'm excited for the possibilities. I am overwhelmed. But hopefully not too much so. Hopefully that this stays fun, because really that's what this is kind of all about, me crafting these things. This sign is going to go right behind me in every single one of my videos so that we can keep track of what we've already finished. And also because I'm a big person of just being goal-oriented. So it's also going to push me through. These are just for the crafts before I put up my decor and everything. I have a bunch of old school craft books that I've thrifted and found over the last year or so, and I really want to do some of those crafts during October. So do not worry if you do love crafts and artwork and everything. This is not it for the channel on Halloween. Throughout October, we will be experimenting and looking through those books at some crazy crafts that they were coming up with during the 80s and 90s. And seeing what we can make out of all of those. But these are just for my decor. So I'm super excited. Today, I think we are going to knock out repainting figures and the Halloween cookies. That feels achievable to start out small. As well as I think the fake big popcorn if we run out of time, because those we need some sunlight for. So let's get into all of that. I am so excited, and I can't wait to show y'all what we come up with this year for our decor and how it's going to look in the rest of the house. So I'm so excited. Please subscribe down below if you are looking forward to any of this. And for today's video and this intro video, we are going to actually start repainting figures. Let's get into it and see how they turn out. But at least repainting figures is something I know how to do. So I'm going to switch you to an overhead and I'll do a voiceover. But looking forward to what ends up happening. So as I stated in the what you'll need animation, you'll only need paint and paintbrushes. Honestly, I got the cheapest ones that I could find as far as paintbrushes were concerned, and this craft paint was $69, I want to say 59 or something cents from Michael's. So really don't cash out for this. It's the simplest craft you could possibly do. I'm just sitting here showing you everything that we'll be painting today. We'll be painting those Temu figures that were the worst idea of buying, but luckily I didn't spend a lot. As well as your Limax figures, which a lot of you may use this craft for. I know that's how I got into repainting a lot of figures, as well as painting some of your favorite figures that just might not fit your aesthetic or just might not show you the representation you wish it had. This is going to be really a simple craft today. I wanted to start out really simple for this series because I wanted it to be obtainable. While this video to start out the series is super easy in my opinion, it also is arguably the most useful. It's kind of proving the point that crafting for the holidays is something that is extremely obtainable and should be something that's kept in mind anytime we go shopping at, a thrift store or any of these big box stores, especially as people who want more diversity in their Halloween decorations. I know this is something I've always struggled with, and I used to see my granny do when I was younger, was paint a lot of her Santas because she may have liked how it looked, but it just wasn't a black Santa, or there was an angel that needed painting or something. It's unfortunate that this happens more often than not, but it also shows how crafty you can get when something doesn't look exactly how you want it. Regardless of skin tone, maybe those stripes, that yellow tiger would have bothered me on that Limax figure. I could have painted it completely orange because what is a yellow tiger? But I kept it that way because it didn't bother me that much. With painting these figures, what's going to be your biggest help is layers, especially with your figures like this. Layers is what's going to help you the most, because when you first put that craft paint on, it's going to inevitably look horrible. This is 3 layers of paint. Do not be afraid to layer, even after you've put down your base coat. Always think of things in base coat, blush, highlight, shadow. See, now it looks a bit cuter because I added in some rosy cheeks. Also, you can always paint back in those eyelashes or those eyebrows. I'm going to do this with this figure right here. We lose her eyebrows in an effort to paint her skin, because painting around things is going to end up looking pretty messy because you're inevitably going to have a lot of spaces. Also, see that whoever painted this didn't really paint the hair properly, so I went back into her hairline and repainted that. This is a great opportunity, especially as big box stores become more and more sloppy with their paint jobs, to also say, use this simple craft idea and technique to repaint those figures. This is what I'm talking about. Was this accurate to have blue stripes on Freddy's sweater? Absolutely not. He has green stripes, so we painted those in. These eyes are scary, and not in a good way, so we're going to give him some eyelids. I used air dry clay, and I'm going to talk about this more in the outro. But honestly, if you have this same situation with any sort of silicone figure like this, I would recommend to use one of those foam clays instead. Air dry clay only seemed like a good choice because I had a huge tub of it in that moment, and even I bought it for what will be my fake cookie crafting video. There's a little bit of a sneak peek for you. I bought it for that craft, and in all honesty, I should have used foam clay for that as well. So the reason why is that this clay is going to shrink and crack, and it's not going to look the best, as you see right here. In all honesty, it looks fine from far away. So I am really happy with how everything turned out. As you can see, I've kind of decorated the space a bit. We'll see how long this all stays up, considering that somehow I have to do some Christmas hauls amongst all this, and I don't know if I'm going to be putting it up and taking it back down. We'll get to that when we get to it. But I'm so excited with how all of my repaints ended up. Really feel like these were just simple ways to kind of take things that I already had and turn it into something that kind of fit a bit more, or also fixing some things that we already had that may not have looked the best. So Honestly, I'm really excited to show y'all how all of the repaints ended up. So let's get into all of that. First off, let's start with the biggest thing. What everybody was waiting for in regards to these repaints, and that is this beauty. I am so happy with how she turned out. I really feel like she's going to look so nice, especially next to my child version of the witch on a moon. It's kind of, they mirror each other, so it's going to be really cute. I feel like when they're kind of sitting in front of each other or sitting next to each other. I'm still figuring out where exactly I'm going to put them, but I think they're going to be on my coffee table this year, just because they're going for a vintage kind of look, and I don't think that they're going to fit over in my Halloween town, which is where a lot of my vintage Halloween stuff is going this year. Yet, we are basically going to find that out tomorrow when we start putting up everything, but I am really happy with how she just kind of turned out. She just looks really great on this stand and looks like she belongs in my house now. It was a great figure already to begin with, and painting really was just super, super easy. All I had to do was use some craft paint. It was like the cheap kind. I think they're at like Michael's right now for 69 cents or something. I just used some brown craft paint, a little bit of red mixed into that, some black just to paint back on her eyebrows and her eyelashes, and we were all done. I'm trying to figure out how I want to spray for the glitter. I know that hairspray works, but I don't really want to buy just hairspray just for this. I have a clear coat, but then I don't want the clear coat to get all over this. So I may end up getting just some aerosol hairspray. Actually, I'm not even, do they still make aerosol hairspray or just a spritz? So I don't know. I'll be looking to kind of to get all of this glitter to stay on it, but other than that, I'm really happy with just how she looks. I really, really love it, and it was just so easy. My little kids, which are basically vintage reproductions from, not Home Goods, Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby back in the day when they used to sell Halloween knickknacks and stuff. I got these off of eBay, and I loved how they looked, but I just wanted them to be more representative of my household, so I kind of made the little girl look a little bit Latina in her little witch outfit, and then my little boy is like a little black boy, and I love it. I think that he turned out so cute. She did as well. I think that like her cheeks, I might want to like, they're a little too, but I don't know if it's giving vintage or it's just giving, you need to blend those out. You need to blend out them cheeks. But I am happy with how they turned out. I think they look really, really cute. And again, I think for pieces like this and like the witch and everything, these are already kind of hand painted looking. So you adding that hand painted touch on top of it, I think kind of looks fine, and it doesn't look out of place for the actual characters. So if anything, it kind of adds to it, and I'm just really, really happy with how they turned out, and they're gonna look so cute when they're on. These are gonna go around my Halloween town, I believe. I definitely feel like they're gonna go around my Halloween town. Next were my Temu purchases that looked a little crazy, and in all honesty, Freddy still looks a little crazy. I'm not gonna lie to you. He really needs his hat, and there's a possibility that I may glue together some felt to make him a little fedora, because him without it really looks ridiculous. But I am at least happy that he has an accurate sweater on now, which was super easy, to be honest. This silicone type of material that they used for these made it very easy to paint on with the craft paint. All these were made with craft paint. Really super easy. So yeah, I even painted and touched up a little bit some portions that were airbrushed with the like burn sores that the red was just creeping over into too many places. So I kind of cleaned it up just a bit with that. Now, as for my Wolfman, he was a little bit better from out of the box. However, his eyes did scare the mess out of me. And so we used some air dry clay. Now, I will say, if you can get that foam clay, I would probably use the foam clay for this, if you're going to do these eyelids and everything, because what happens with the air dry clay is that it shrinks as it dries, And so there's some crackage happening if you're up close on the Wolfman. For the most part, he's fine. I mean, from far away, he's really, it just looks a lot better than the Google eyes that we started off with, personally. And that's all I needed to do with this one. The paint job on this one really wasn't that bad to start off with, but the eyelids were scaring me. So we just put some air dry clay for the eyelids, and then I just used some paint. I didn't even really mix the paint, right out of some craft paint, and painted his eyelids. But I do recommend to use like if you want to do something like this, use the foam clay that you can buy. It'll just work better with the silicone, and it won't crack once it starts drying. Last, which is what started my whole repainting figures thing from the very beginning, when I first started Halloween decor hunting and everything, is painting my Limax figures. So the thing that's always annoyed me, especially for the Halloween figures, I feel like they're getting better with Christmas, but there's not a lot of diversity in those figures. And especially for the Halloween ones, if you pick up any of the normal looking people, I guess, for your Limax figures, you will notice I've yet to really come across a Halloween like figure that has any melanin in their skin. Of course, very frustrating as somebody who Halloween decor hunts. So I did repaint these. I repainted basically all of them. I mean, just to have like different skin tones and everything. I think I kept my little Viking girl. She's still lacking melanin, but I think that, you know, she looked fine that way. And then I used just different types of brown paint that I've gotten over the years out of craft paint for all the different figures, and then repainted their eyes in, because sometimes how Limax paints eyes in are a little ridiculous. That's what I did here with the Bride and Frankenstein. I didn't repaint their skin, but I did repaint their eyes because they're looking a little bad. So that's also for this crafting video, just a little tidbit of information that you can do. Sometimes, like when you buy figures from the store, they just put the eyes wherever. They're just ... because they're mass producing them. This is an easy way to fix those eyes real quick so that they don't look crazy. And I'm really excited to put them all in my Halloween town come tomorrow. So that's it for today's crafting video. Like I said, I'm really excited for this series. Expect for the next 2 weeks nothing but Halloween crafting videos. After this one, we're hitting the next one. So you're going to see this background and me in this outfit for basically almost every crafting video. I have 2 left that I need to finish, so I didn't finish them all before we had to decorate, mainly because of drying times. Drying times was a big problem. But I got really close, and I'm really excited to show y'all the rest of the crafts that I finished. These are just the beginning. Honestly, I'm just so excited to show y'all all of the crafts that I've been doing. They all turned out so great, and I'm so excited to show y'all how my decorating ends up. For y'all not gonna see it for another like 2-3 weeks. For me, I'm actually going to be filming it tomorrow, and all of these figures are going throughout all different parts of my house. So once again, I hope that today's video, although it was super simple way to start out, I hope that it also gave you kind of ideas on how to take things that you find at the store or while you're out thrifting and still make it your own with just a little bit of craft paint. I think sometimes we don't pick something up or we don't buy it because it's not exactly what we're looking for, even though you love it. You're just like, oh, I wish that it had this color, or it looked like this person, or it better fit, you know, my household or something. And this is just proof that cheap craft paint can go a really long way in giving you exactly what you're looking for if the piece itself is correct. So I know that when I found that out, it was such kind of a game changer for me on the possibilities of what something can be. Even if it's fabric, okay, water down your paint and use it like a dye. You've made yourself a dye. If something needs a little bit of work or touching up, okay, fine, pull out the craft paint and make it work. If something just needs to better fit your household. Pull out the craft paint and make it work. Honestly, it's a very easy craft, but it's also one that's super, like, it can change so many different things that you kind of buy or find out there. So I would say this is just episode 1 of this series. The next one is going to be fake cookies and fake popcorn, which I am going to be using both in my 90s Halloween space as well as my monster movie mash area. So, and these turned out really great. Now, the cookies did not turn out exactly how I thought they would, but they turned out really great nonetheless. So subscribe down below if you're looking forward to that, or if you enjoyed today's video. I have so many more craft videos coming. Like this video if you like today's crafts, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye!